Hello everyone and welcome on Hearthstone Herald episode number 5. And since number 5 is a prime number and a multiple of 5, we should definitely make a party. Woohoo! Yes! 5 episodes, guys. 20 viewers. I love you all. And I hope you become many more. But right now, I'm very happy to see that some people actually take interest in my videos. And that's already a good relief for me. Today is Monday, and Monday is an amazing day. I love Mondays, especially this Monday, because I didn't get to see you on Sunday and Saturday, and today you are back. Thank you, beloved viewers. But also, I've had an amazing weekend. I went to the Champagne region in France, and I did a run. Like, it was supposed to be a half marathon, but we got there late. I was there with my wife and my brother. And we arrived like an half hour late, since it was not a very serious run, a really race-like thing. Like, we could actually cut down, and we actually took a shortcut and only did 18 kilometers. But still, it was a great time for me. And now I'm really pumped up, and I couldn't wait to see you guys and talk about what we're gonna talk about today. And Monday is going to be a specific day where we talk about the latest gossip, and also what we're going to talk about the coming week. So, with no further ado, let's first talk about gossip. Last week, Thursday, was a leak. Yes, the cards were leaked on Hearthpwn, an MMO champion sub-website, something like that. I think it was initiated by an MMO champ. I'm not sure 100% how it went. But anyways, everyone got very worked up about this, and some people liked the fact that the cards were leaked, obviously, because they wanted to know more information about the cards, the games, and they were all excited about that. And some of the people, like me, I was kind of upset because, you know, when you play a collectible card game, the cards get revealed before the sneak preview, but you only really get to see the real cards at the sneak preview, and that was a very special moment. You know, you would open those first boosters you got, you open them up, and then you look at those 15 cards, and you flip them. First you take away the advertising card, and you saw your first uncommon card. Because there were, in WoW TCG anyways, there was 3 uncommon cards, and then a rare or a loot card. And then the rest was all common cards, right? But you would discover that first uncommon card, and oh my god, this is so powerful. I'm going to put that in my deck. But first, let us see the next card. And on, and you would get so excited about it. And here, well, this really ruined it for me, actually. You know, getting all the cards all together, and that real effect of, you know, flipping the card, that's gone. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. But of course, we're no longer in a physical card game where things can actually be kept a secret. No, we're in the computer era, and in computers, things never go the way you want them to. Murphy's Law. Remember that one. So, that was the first thing. Now, lots of people started building decks on Hearthpwn, and with cards that you will actually never get to play. Like, there's that one card, which is called the Poultryizer, which looks like the one card that everyone would want in a deck, which is a 1 cost, and it's a 0/3 minion that at the beginning of your turn would turn another random enemy minion into a chicken. Now, how powerful is that? If you play it on turn 1, it's just amazing, right? But it's not a card you actually get to play. It's a card that comes with another. It's a legendary off. Damn, I forgot the name of the card. Makatoric, I think is the name. It's a legendary card. That's 6/6 for 6. And Battle Cry, it summons a random, amazing, awesome invention, and it can be one of 4 different inventions, the Poultryizer being one of those 4. And lots of people started making decks with those cards they will actually never get to play. people are starting to work their way into what the cards are really used in this situation. Like, for instance, the yeeehaaaah Dream cards. It's not just one card that is entitled Dream. There is one that's called Dream. It's a 0 cost that that allows you to return a minion into its owner's hand. Very potent, but there's other cards that you can draw in that kind of virtual dream deck. That yeeehaaaah is a dragon. For those who didn't know it, it was already released, but not the cards not the dream cards that came with it. And anyways, so this week I think we're going to see a lot of people starting to realize what you can actually do and think about some good deck ideas. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if that was real stuff or not, but obviously it is real stuff. Those cards are real. It seems that there are some missing, and it seems that maybe Blizzard has something to do with that leak. It's all theoretical. I'm not going to get into that. That was the first thing I wanted to talk about. Now, I'm not going to go over all the cards. There are some reviews out there on YouTube. I can put some links down the video, right there. Haha. I don't see it, but you see it. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is how upset some people were about the fact that Blizzard revealed the Straglethorn Board. Oh, that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to say for me. I'm sorry. I'm French speaking natively. I do my best to speak the best English I can to satisfy you, the viewers. I hope you like it. I hope you like my little French touch, which isn't actually totally French touch, something in between, in the middle. But, yeah, so people were upset about the fact that Blizzard revealed the Straglethorn Board and saying, "Oh, Blizzard, why are you saying that? I don't need to know anything about that Straglethorn Board, man. Give us cards. Hearthpwn did way better than you did." And I think people who don't like that board, who don't like the idea of a board that can change and all kinds of things, are not people from the CCG world. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those people did actually play collectible card games before. But really, one of the really cool things about collectible card games is all the stuff that you can then get aside, and the art is really part of that. And I remember the first time when I started playing WoW TCG. I played first with my friends, and so we had fun, but I really wanted to be a little bit more competitive with that, and I went to my first little tournament. I went to that club there. I didn't know anyone. I got there, you know, with my deck of cards in a very nice little white box that I bought with all sleeves, and I was ready to face my opponents. And I was feeling confident because I had, you know what, I'm gonna get it. Just stay there. Don't go away. I'm back. I'm going to show you. So, where are you, little Lottie? Oh, yes. I'm back. So, it's not exactly this one, but it's beautiful. You know, it says Deck Protector with all gothic fonts and with dragons that shoot flames. And I was like, this is the grail. I'm going to defeat any opponent with this deck and those sleeves. Those sleeves are amazing. Yes, I was sure that I could beat any opponent with my deck. I was sure of that. And then my first opponent, came on the table and lay down his playmat. And I was, oh my god, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna rip me apart. He's got a playmat. I don't have a playmat. And now I have one. This was my very first playmat. And this is so daunting when you see an opponent who has his own playmat and it looks like he's a pro. And you're just junk. It's your first tournament. And I was really looking forward to get my first playmat, and I did. And I was so happy about it. And now I have some more. And the really cool thing about card games is that you can have a lot of cool things. You know, like you can have extended art Leroy Jenkins, or you can have a super duper Lights Justice mouse board. mouse pad. That's it, mouse pad. It's cool. And also a lot of different things, a lot of art. I think art is really an essential part of CCGs, and I'm really, really happy that Blizzard acknowledges that. And I'm really looking forward to actually be able to unlock boards by doing achievements or doing things. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of boards, and that sometimes, you know, there's some more exclusive boards. I don't know if they're going to go with a collector's edition with a very special board with this special effects and things like that. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to see that. So that was the little part of gossip I wanted to talk about. And this week now, what are we going to do? Last week we were going with the mage. We were talking about the mage. There was no Monday last week because the week starts at Tuesday when we do the Forge Day, and that's when we really get to start doing the work. And this week I was last Friday I was saying that we were going to go with the druid, and that we were either with the druid or the shaman, and I was really looking forward to do that. And then this morning I go, right now it's 11:49 p.m. by the way, on Monday in Belgium, but I guess you guys are all sleeping, so I guess that was yesterday evening for whoever posted that on Arcane Dust, but that was this morning for me, was the Forge of the week, and this week's Forge was Warlock. So I thought, okay, I'm not gonna do Shaman because tomorrow I have to do Forge Day, and I want to do Forge, the same Forge as people will do on Arcane Dust, and talk about the cards that we're gonna pick. So this week is going to be Warlock, and now we're gonna have a little closer look, thanks to those new cards that were leaked, at the cards that the Warlock has at his disposal to destroy, to rip apart the opponent. So these are all in alphabetical order, and let's look at the first one, which is Bane of Doom. Deal 2 damage to a character. If that kills it, it summons a random demon. That card might look very good at first sight. However, there are some caveats. First thing is, it summons a random demon. It's not a random demon from your deck, so you don't have any power over what sort of demon you will have. It can actually be a demon that does not justify the 5 cost at all. One of the advantages, though, is that if it summons a big fat demon, you don't get the backfire of the battle cry of that demon. So if it summons a pit lord, for instance, well, you don't have to deal 7 damage to your hero. That's a good thing about it. But let's look now. It's a 5 cost and it deals 2 damage. And it only triggers this if it kills the character. So there's a lot of conditions that have to be met for Bane of Doom to be actually useful. And I don't like cards that are too situational. I don't like to have cards that actually cannot serve a purpose at any given time. And here, really, that's what it is. It's 2 damage for 5, and that's very underwhelming. Of course, you can boost it with spell power. You have to have spell power on the table. Of course, you could kill one of your own characters, like you can have an Imp Master and kill it with Bane of Doom and summon that random demon, and it will help you. But really, it's kind of an iffy card. I'm not sure I like it. I would certainly keep away from it if I had to play a Forge deck. In a constructed deck, maybe you could find ways to use it, but it's always random. And randomness is usually not a good thing. Second card here is Blood Imp. Oh, Blood Imp, I really love that minion. There's a lot of very decent 1 costs out there, but the 1 cost minions of the Warlock are really amazing. There's 3 of them. There's the Blood Imp, the Flame Imp, and there's the Voidwalker. Is it Voidwalker? I'm not sure. We're going to see. It's going to come in the end. This one has stealth, so it's hard to deal with unless you have mass removal or untargeted removal like Knife Juggler or Arcane Missiles, but it gives your other minions +1 health. And really, +1 health can sometimes be a big pain in the, if you see what I mean. I'm not gonna say the 3 letters word that starts with an A, ends with an S. No, I'm not. But anyways, giving your other minions +1 health can help you a lot, a great deal, especially with some other cards we're gonna see. And I've actually faced someone who was playing a Blood Imp, and it really pissed me off to see that on the table. And it only has 1 health, of course. So there's a lot of removals that can deal with it. However, to the exception of a Knife Juggler, where you can actually, like, it doesn't cost you anything, you would actually have to spend a card on, and you're not sure to kill it with the Knife Juggler anyways. So if you want to be sure to get it, you have to use a mass damage spell like Arcane Explosion, for instance, if you're facing a wizard. If you are a wizard, I mean. And but you don't really want to play an Arcane Explosion to get rid of a 1/1 at the beginning of the game. It's really an annoying little ally. Of course, it doesn't do much on its own. It doesn't put pressure on the board, but really, I think it's a very good card. Corruption. For 1, you choose an enemy minion, and at the start of the turn, you destroy it. So it's the cheapest removal spell in the game. However, there is a big caveat there, is that you have to wait a whole turn before the destruction occurs. And by the time your opponent gets to play his full turn, he has the time to react about the fact that his minion is going to die. But more specifically, usually when you have a very big problematic minion on the board from your opponent, corruption is not going to be the solution. Because, let's say my opponent plays a turn 9 Malygos. Well, I play Corruption because I want to get rid of that Malygos, so scary. But then he gets a full turn with 10 mana to deal the damage that Malygos is going to deal to me. There are indeed some minions that cause less problems. And of course, the fact that it only costs 1 allows you to play a lot of other things along with Corruption. So you play that Corruption, and you play an ally with Taunt, so you protect yourself. But so it's good. It's not a bad card at all, but it's not as good as direct removal. I like removal to be immediate because I don't want to let the opponent actually bang something on that minion. Death Coil. For 1, deal 1 damage to a minion, and if that kills it, draw a card. Very underwhelming card compared to, there's a rogue card that does the exact same thing as what Arcane Blast used to do for the mage. So let's rewind a little bit and go back to the mage. Before the leaks were revealed, the mage had a 1-cost card that was called Arcane Blast, and that deals 1 damage and draw a card. It was deal 1 damage regardless, so you could deal 1 damage to an enemy hero or a minion to your choice, and whatever happens, you always draw a card for 1. Now it seems that this card has actually gone to the rogue. I don't know the name of that rogue card. I should look it up, but there's a rogue card that does exactly that: deal 1 damage and draw a card for 1. Here, Death Coil is way lesser because it's deal 1 damage only to a minion. You don't get to choose, and only if that kills it, you draw a card. In most situations, it's not going to help you. It's not a good card, really. Even if you have spell power, I don't like it. There's too many conditions for it to actually be useful to you. Chaos Bolt! Everyone knows Chaos Bolt if they've already faced a Warlock, because all Warlocks play Chaos Bolt, and there's a good reason to that, is it's amazing. There's 2 good things about Chaos Bolt. First, that it's versatile. It deals 2 damage to a minion, and it's kind of an or thing. It's kind of a druidish thing. And if it's the target is a demon, instead you give it +2/+2. And this is really where this Chaos Bolt shines. Most of the time you probably want to make one of your demons a +2/+2. Still, there are some times where you really would prefer to be able to deal 2 damage directly. And that's really, really, really a good card. I love it. I love it. Doomguard, one of the demons. With a big drawback, it's a 5/7 with charge and Battlecry, discard 2 cards at random. Discarding 2 random cards always hurts a lot. Of course the Warlock has a lot of draw power, and of course the fact that it has charge really pays off. At least you know that when you play the Doomguard, you're gonna get value out of it, which is not the case, for instance, for the Bitlord, which we're gonna talk about a little bit later. So you always get value out of a Doomguard, but you discard 2 random cards. It's not my least liked demon, but it's one of those demons with a big drawback. Drain Life. Drain Life is very good. Deal 2 damage, restore 2 health to your hero. Most of the three cost spells deal at least 3 damage with another good side effect. So it's not like amazingly good, but still the fact that it restores 2 health to your hero, the Warlock is going to spend a lot of life to draw cards with his hero power. If he doesn't, then he's not playing Warlock the right way. So giving back the health to the Warlock makes much more sense than it would for some other classes. Still, it's an okay-ish card. I think it's a little bit. It costs a little bit too much, in my opinion. It should be a 2, but okay. Dread Infernal. Battlecry. Deal 1 damage to all other characters. A 5/5 for 6 is not really amazing. There's a lot of much better minions out there for a 6 cost. And the Battlecry deals 1 damage to all other characters, so it deals damage to yourself as well. But the real thing is, it doesn't benefit from spell power. So to the opposite of a spell that would deal 1 damage to everything, it's going to be very hard to use it to actually clear out the battlefield. Unless you're in a very specific situation. But dealing 1 damage only, most of the time it will not change anything in the game. And you're then left with a 5/5 minion that costs you 6, and that won't bring you a lot of board presence. So I don't like it. Felguard, for 3 cost. It has Taunt and Battlecry, destroy 1 of your mana crystals. Lots of people play it. But let's compare it with another minion. There's the Sanjan Warmaster, which is a common card, I think. I'm not sure if it's common or from the basic set. But it's a 3/5 with Taunt that costs 4. So it costs 1 more, but it does not have the drawback of destroying 1 mana crystal. So in a lot of situations, Sanjan Warmaster is actually better than the Felguard. Of course, Felguard comes 1 turn earlier, and it has a little bit more board presence at that point. Still not sure that I am convinced with that ally, with that minion. Perhaps other Warlock players will tell me, no, Felguard is so good, and they're probably right. Indeed, it is a demon. So it benefits from Chaos Bolt. It benefits from a few things. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that Warlock benefits that much from having demon subtypes to its creature. We're gonna see. So there's only a few things that actually use the demon, the fact that it's a demon. There's Chaos Bolt. There's Grimoire of Sacrifice, which we're going to talk about soon. And then there's, Sense Demons. All the rest does not care about things being demons. So really, there's only Chaos Bolt. And for that, I'd rather have something that doesn't destroy me a mana crystal. That's just a personal preference, but okay. Flame Imp. Flame Imp costs 1, has Stealth, and Battlecry, deal 2 damage to your hero. I love this one. I think it has huge board presence. You can make very, very nice aggro decks with Flame Imp. Actually, Felguard, no, I think it's really too bad that it's not like the opposite. Like, I would rather have this one have Taunt and this one have Charge. they would exchange this, and I would really love that. I would really love that Felguard with charge instead of taunt that I could use in an aggro deck, and then I can certainly I won't mind having I won't mind the loss of a mana crystal that much, because you know, if I'm going aggro, I don't need that many. This one is taunt, so I want to go for the end game, and the faster I get there, the better. So the Flame Amp here is very good for aggro. It deals 2 damage to your hero, but potentially it's gonna easily deal 3 damage to the opposing hero. And it has board presence, so the opponent will have to deal with it. And if you are going first, it's really a bomb, because most of the decks won't be able to deal with it until turn 3. By that time, it would have had the time to attack twice, which is 6 damage. And really, I like it. I like it in aggro decks. And then there's Grimoire of Sacrifice. Destroy a demon and restore 5 health to your hero. Now there's one thing it's typically the sideboard style of card. It's a perfect card in a sideboard, because in the mirror matchup, if you're gonna play against a Warlock, you're definitely one to be able to have Grimoire of Sacrifice, because it allows you to deal with the enemy demons, which is really good. And it also restores your health. That's a good side consequence. But if you play it and you're not facing, if you play it and you're not facing, I'm sorry, my iPad is making weird sounds. Despite being covered, despite being in standby, don't know why. So this Grimoire of Sacrifice will only serve as a healing thing. That costs 2 to restore 5. I don't think it's very, very nice. There's lots of minions out there that restore your health and that actually bring board presence. Here you have to remove board presence to restore your health. So not a good card if you're not in the mirror matchup. If you are, it's extremely potent, especially if your opponent plays Jaraxxus. Then that becomes even worse for him, because he plays Lord Jaraxxus on turn 9, and then you play Grimoire of Sacrifice, and you destroy him. Right, like that. Bam. Surprise, surprise. Hellfire. For 4, deal 3 damage to all characters. It's very good. It's very good to clear the board out at the 4th turn mark. Dealing 3 damage to all characters is actually very potent. Most of the minions that are going to be on the board will be killed by that. And please, iPad, just would you stop making noises? Thank you. So it is a very potent card. It can also kill your opponent. And it can also kill you, so beware when you use it. Just my one little bit of advice. Lord Jaraxxus, lots of people have seen it and in play in the different duels. Not much else to say about the fact that, except the fact that when you play Lord Jaraxxus, you better be in control of the situation. If you are in control, it's very good, because your opponent, if your opponent's board is empty, you have a little bit of pressure, then you can play Lord Jaraxxus. Your opponent has to deal with the pressure you already have on the board, and even if you were at 20 life, at the cost of 5 life, it's still worth it. But if you're not in control, then it's really not worth playing Lord Jaraxxus, because you're going to get so much incoming during that. You're basically paying a turn. You're not doing anything on that 9th turn if you played Lord Jaraxxus, so you better have really good ways to put pressure on the opponent in order to start the infernal pumping machine. That's once you get there, it's a pretty much one situation. The Pit Lord Battle Cry deals 7 damage to your hero. First thing to notice about the Pit Lord is it used to be a 7/7, and now after the leaks we know it's going to be a 7/5 in the current state of the game. It was most of the time when I see a Warlock play Pit Lord, that Pit Lord doesn't get to do anything. It's destroyed by the opponent, either polymorphed or just killed or whatever, or just kept at bay with a Frostbolt, Frostchalk. it can't attack because there's a taunt ally in the front. There's so many ways to deal with the Pit Lord. And you've paid dearly for that, because 7 damage to the hero is a big deal. It's if you start with 30 life, if you start with 35 life, it's 1/5, it's 20% of your starting life. It hurts a lot, and most of the time the Pit Lord doesn't serve its purpose. So really, I don't like it. And especially now that it only has 5 health, it really makes it a dead card in my opinion. Power Overwhelming. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 until end of turn, and then it dies horribly! It's like a fireball with legs. I like that. This card is really good. It allows for so much versatility. It has also a lot of nice combos we're going to talk about later. Really, 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 really good card. Really good card. Put it in whatever Warlock deck you're going to use. It can be used to attack the opposing hero. It can be used as well as some kind of direct damage spell on enemy minions, because you can ram your minion, your little small 1/1 minion that turns into a 5/5 and that does horrible damage. Really, really, really nice card. And we're going to see how it can combo actually very soon. Sense Demons, I think it's one of those cards that's very hard to evaluate, to know if it's a good card or not. It's really, really situational. If I'm going to... It has several purposes, okay? The fact that you're going to take random demons from your deck, so it's random, that's the first thing, so it's not going to get you the demons you need. But anyways, it's still 2 cards that you draw. And if you compare it with Arcane Intellect, Arcane Intellect is a mage spell that costs 3 and draws you 2 cards. But it's also random. When you draw 2 cards, it's random, whatever happens. So one of the good things about Sense Demons is that you already know what kind of cards you're going to get with that. So if you play a heavily aggro deck and you kind of run out of steam around the 7th turn or something, then it's a good thing to have, because you can draw 2 demons, and well, if your deck is made with low cost minions, you can put them down and put pressure back on the board. But if you're in a control deck, I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure I like it, because the demons, as far as I can tell, most of the demons are more geared towards aggressive decks. And if you're in control decks, then I don't really know what demon you're going to put in there that's really going to help control. So, kind of iffy. And also, if it's not going to be one of those cheap cost ones, so it's going to be one of the more expensive ones, and probably when you're going to draw them, you're not going to be able to play them right away. So it really depends on the deck that you're going to play. But yeah, it's okay. Shadow Bolt is a good card. It deals 4 damage to a minion for 3 cost, which is, in terms of mana efficiency, a good ratio. And, well, there's not much else to say. It's a good removal spell. And on the 3rd turn, most minions will only have 4 health anyways. Shadow Flame. Destroy a friendly minion and deal its attack damage to all enemy minions. Now, this is one of the uses of Power Overwhelming that is amazing. Okay, let's talk about... This does mass damage, right? To all enemy minions. So let's compare this with other spells that deal mass damage. The Wizard has Blizzard. The Wizard has Blizzard. Did I say Wizard? It was a mage, of course. Sorry about that. Sorry, mages. I love you. I love the mage class, by the way. The mage has Blizzard. And Blizzard is a 5 cost that deals 2 damage to all enemy minions and freezes them. To deal 2 damage to all enemy minions, you also have Consecrate, which is for the Paladin. I think it's a 5 cost as well. It also damages the enemy hero. But really here for 4 cost, we actually get to deal way more damage than that. Because having a 1 attack minion is very easy. Having a 2 attack minion, most of the time you'll have that. So you can fairly assume that you can easily do 2 damage to all enemy minions. You would have of course, try to use the minion you're gonna sacrifice before, right? You're gonna attack with him on the hero or do something, but then you can use Shadow Flame and deal with the board. But then when it comes with Power Overwhelming, you can boost that minion and then you can hit him into the enemy hero and do massive damage on all enemy minions and wipe the board and gain complete control over the board at that point, which is extremely good. Especially against druid decks and shaman decks, which will really try to swarm the board with low health minions. Very potent spell, I love it. Siphon Soul. Destroy minion, restore 3 health to your hero. It's very good in a control deck. If you are going to play an aggro deck, the problem is you're going to pay 6 to destroy minions, so it's very effective removal. However, if you play it on turn 6, you don't get to do anything on that turn, so you're gonna lose momentum, and at that point it's probably where you want to be dealing the killing blow or getting very close to that with an aggro deck. So really, if you play aggro, I don't think I would play Siphon Soul. However, if you deal with control decks, it's really good. Think about it. Let's look at the mage's polymorph ability. It costs only 4 for removal, but most mages will do this. I pay 4 to destroy your minion and then turn it into a sheep, and then I pay 2 and use my hero power to destroy that little sheep, because a 1/1 sheep might look inoffensive, but it can still do damage. And by the way, if you leave a 1/1 sheep to a warlock, you can always power overwhelm it and make it a 5/5 and do huge damage. So here you have the guarantee that there is no drawback at all. Actually, you get the little extra because you restore health to your hero, which is very good. So in control decks, I would definitely recommend to have 2 of those. They're very potent. Soulfire. Soulfire is a very problematic card, in my opinion. It's good as a finisher, or it's good in very problematic situations. But discarding a random card is most of the time going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt your opponent. Unless your opponent has a card on the board that really puts you into a lot of trouble and you absolutely need to deal with it. Then you play Soulfire. But in any other case, the discarding of that random card is gonna hurt you a bunch. So keep it to give the killing blow. It's good to have in aggro deck that you have managed to deal to your significant damage to your opponent in the first 5 to 6 turns, and then he's like 8 health away from dying. Then you can play 2 Soulfires. Things like that. But yeah, and in control decks, I'm not sure I would play Soulfire. I'm not sure I would play Soulfire. I wouldn't like this Soulfire to discard me a very important card. Succubus. Succubus has gone through a little change since the leaks. Well, with the leaks, I mean. Because now it's only 4/3, used to be a 4/4, which made a big difference. And as a battle cry, you discard a random card. So for aggressive decks, it's very good, but it's not as good as it used to be because of that 1 health difference. It's much easier to dispose of a 3 health ally, of a 3 health minion, than of a 4 health minion. Most of the times when I've played against warlocks, I didn't have much trouble dealing with the Succubus anyway. So the backfire of discarding a random card actually hurts a lot, in my opinion. But okay, it's still a good ally that puts a lot of pressure early on. And actually, if it's a follow-up, if turn 1 you play a Flame Imp, and turn 2 you play Succubus, your opponent really is up for a lot of trouble. Summoning Portal, your minions cost 2 less, but no less than 1. It has 4 health, which is a lot, which is really a lot. And I think we're gonna see some decks playing that. I'm not sure, but it takes a little while before it pays for itself. So we'll see how it goes. You really have to be able to defend it correctly. It's certainly going to be in control decks rather than aggro decks. But yeah, we'll see how it turns out. This is not a bad card, but you have to really find a way to play it well. The Twisting Nether. People love Wrath of God-like cards, like that kill all enemy minions, kill all minions. However, there is a huge difference between most of those cards and Twisting Nether. Twisting Nether costs 8, and 8 is a huge cost. It means that at the turn you're going to play Twisting Nether, you're not going to do anything. I mean, if it's turn 8, then you just destroy all minions and you give the hand to your opponent, say, okay, your turn. And then he gets to put the presence on the board. He gets to put back the pressure on you. And you didn't get anything out there, so you're still going to be on the defensive side of things, unless you really have a good plan behind that. Kind of really iffy. If you compare that to Armageddon or Wrath of God or things like that, those are actually spells that don't cost that much, that allow you to have a play together with it. It's like oh, what was the name of that now? Oh. In WoW TCG there was... I don't remember the name of this. Oh, it's so bad. It used to be a weapon for mages, warlocks, and priests, I think. It was limited to them. Perhaps druid too. And it cost 5, and it comes into play tapped, I think. It's like a Nevinral's Disc. Never knew how to pronounce it. Nevinral's Disc. Nevini Ral's Disc. Okay, in Magic, which is an artifact that costs 4, and it comes into play tapped, and then when it's untapped, you can pay 1 and tap it to destroy all permanents, which is all artifacts, all equivalent to minions and things like that. But it only costs 1 to activate. So you clear the board, and then you get to play your cards, the cards that are in your hand, to put the pressure on your opponent. With Twisting Nether, you can't do that. You can't possibly do it. And the later it comes, the worse it becomes. If you play it on turn 10, your opponent gets to play then on the next turn a big Malagos, and what are you gonna do about it, man? Come on. You're gonna stop. You're just stopped in your track by playing that. And I'm not even talking about playing it in an aggro deck. If you play it in an aggro deck, well, you're at turn 8. Either you have enough pressure on your opponent and he has lost significant life and you have control over the board and you're going to kill him next turn, then you really don't want to play Twisting Nether. Or you don't have control over the board, you don't have anything, you're going to play that, and you're not doing anything on your turn, and your opponent has all the time in the world and all the mana in the world to be ready for your next assault. So, no, I think it's not going to be a very effective card in any deck. Void Terror, Battle Cry, destroy all minions on either side of this minion and gain their attack and health. This is a very, very interesting demon because it can combo so well with Power Overwhelmed. You power overwhelm one of your minions, you attack with it on the enemy hero, or you get rid of an enemy minion thanks to your 5/5 sheep, for instance. I like the 5/5 sheep idea. And then you play Void Terror, and you transfer that huge amount of attack and health to that Void Terror, making it a huge beast. And it can really, really, really be a huge amount of troubles for your opponent, unless he has an answer, of course, which is always like that. But really, that makes Void Terror a huge card in combination with that. And then finally, last but not least, one of the best one-cost allies in the whole game beats Shieldbearer 1,000 times, the Voidwalker, the 1/3 taunt. For 1. I think this is so much better than the Shieldbearer. Really, there's so much more to do with a 1/3 taunt than with a 0/4 Enrage 1 taunt. it has direct board presence. It can directly get you rid of opponents, of enemy minions, small minions of course, but it can definitely serve a lot more purpose. It's more active. It's more active, and it's always useful. It's always good to have it. Always good to draw it. I love Voidwalker. It's really one of those cards. Okay, maybe not in an aggro deck, but still, it still would fit actually in an aggro deck in case, you know. No, I really love it. I really love it. This is it for the card reviews of the Warlock. I'm not going to talk about other cards that could be used interestingly with the Warlock. This is going to be for Friday when we go in Friday Deck Day. Meanwhile, I really hope you enjoy this and really don't hesitate to put any more comments. Oh, by the way, I know that thus far my avatar and my channel banner don't look very, very interesting, right? They're just the placeholder ones. I'm not an artist. I mean, I'm an actor, but I'm not a graphist. I'm not good at drawing things. And I asked to a real artist to create me a nice logo and a nice banner. Right now, it's in the course of being done. It might take a little while. So meanwhile, I'll have to find something else because I can't really stay with the placeholder stuff. But really don't be worried about it. And then one second thing I wanted to talk about is the style of this show. I don't do any editing on my videos, and I won't, because I want to keep it a stream-like style. You know, I make direct reactions. I sometimes say stupid things. I have hesitation. I really hope that this is temporary. I try to say as little as possible, even though when I listen back to my streams, I'm like, oh, wow, stop saying all the time, please. Don't hesitate. You know what you want to say, and I always know what I want to say. I'm just looking for my words sometimes, and it kills me. Anyways, I'm doing my best, and I really hope that you like it. And if you have any comments, please don't hesitate. Any constructive comment, any things you don't like about the show, any things you like about the show, just say them. I need to know what you like to make the show a better show. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, let me get my face back here. Yes, we'll see each other. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, for Forge Day, and we're gonna see how good of a forger I can be. Hopefully. Thank you all, and see ya.